I am Die Cut Crazy, and in my ongoing Die Cut Crazy video series, I share different ways to stretch our crafty dollars by using the same die cut set in different ways. Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik, and recently I was lucky enough to win this awesome Poppystamps Raining Frame Die. So it is a card front that has the rain and the umbrella, and I won it. And as soon as I received it, I had so much fun designing the cards that I'm sharing in this video. From clean and simple to more detailed cards, whatever is your style, you'll find cards made with this die are perfect for good times or trying times, such as those we are in right now. This card took very little time to design and make, but I love the look and the message. I simply cut the die out of a pretty patterned paper, kind of look like sky, and the bright umbrella and the bright sentiment will cheer the recipient even if our days are pretty stormy right now. You Are My Sunshine is a sentiment strip from Tailored Expressions. I was looking through the ones I have, and so many of them are so appropriate for these times. I Miss Your Face, A Note to Make You Smile, You Are Not Alone, So Grateful for You, and Wish I Could Be There With You. So so many of those would be perfect for cards that I'm making nowadays. I'm trying to make encouragement cards. I found this sentiment on the internet. It was unattributed, and I thought it was perfect, so I printed it out a couple times and I cut them out for these cards. Every storm runs out of rain. That's a nice thought, right? We're in the middle of a storm right now, but eventually, hopefully, it'll run out of rain. I created the background of this card with Distress Oxide inks in various shades of blue, and then I sprinkled some water on it. And then I created the umbrella with an extra piece of Nuvo Shimmer powder and cling wrap on glossy paper. So I have a video that I just did, and I had an extra piece sitting around, so I cut the umbrella out of that, and it's got some fun pattern to it. And then this is another piece that I had laying around from that same video. In this case, I used Nuvo Shimmer powders and tissue paper, and then some silver embossing powder, and I created the background on this one, and again kind of looks stormy but nice and bright and colorful, and another Every Storm Runs Out of Rain. I have a link to that video when I show both those techniques in the description box. This is the card, and it's my favorite of the ones I created that I'm going to show you how to make in this video. It has the background that's very pretty, and another one of those lovely sentiments, and look what happens when you turn the card. It's a magical rain shaker card. I knew the minute I saw this die that I wanted to try that technique. It's been on my list of things to try. And on this die, you can do just the sides. You don't have to do all the way across like I saw in some of the videos. They had these strings all the way across the front of the card, every 1/4 inch, and some had as many as 20 or more beads on each string. I tried it, and on this card I tried one technique, and it had us doing each string separately, and I found that a little hard to do. So I looked at another video, and that's the way I'm going to show you, and I have a link to that video in my description box. So I have cut a card front out of a piece of stormy looking cardstock, and also a slightly smaller piece of thick cardstock to make it more sturdy. I die cut the umbrella out of a bright cherry yellow, and I attached it, and I sponged on some darker blue ink just to highlight the rain. I have some skinny foam tape, and I am going to attach that along the bottom, right along the bottom. And the top. And then take some smaller pieces and put them right up the side on the bottom. And the top. Now, we're going to take a piece of cardstock that has slots cut into it. Okay, so in the video that I watched, she had slots all the way across, and that is what the thread is going to go into. So I had a pattern. I'm going to keep this, and I knew that I wanted mine to start about here and go to here and have 4 on each side. So that's the way I drew my pattern. But depending on what you're doing, you may want it every 1/4 inch all the way across the top and the bottom. That's up to you. So this is what I did, and I have a piece that's a 1/2 inch by 4 inches, because this is the width. And I drew my pattern so that the top and the bottom is going to be straight. So we're going to remove the covering of this skinny foam tape, and we're going to attach this so that the slots are off the page, off the cardstock. Okay, so the slots are open here along the top and the bottom. So it's sticking to that foam tape and it's coming off the top. Oops, I was supposed to show you how to cut those, but I didn't. So where I marked, I'm just cutting right up to that line. And then we're going to take invisible thread, and because it is invisible, you're really not going to see it. But this is a very old transparent nylon thread, and you take that invisible thread at the end, and you're going to put it through that first slot, and you're going to tape it on the back so that piece is staying down. And you're going to take this thread, you're going to cut off a piece and string some beads on here, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then once those beads are on, you're going to go down through that slot and up through this one, and then put another 10 beads or so on, and then on this side you're going to go down through that slot and back up. So you won't have a piece that's long enough to go all the way, but you're not dealing with individual strings on each line. And this held much better. When I was working with the other one, it wanted to come off each time, whereas this technique that I learned in that video that I have a link to, I thought that worked very well. So I'm going to do most of the beads off camera because that does take a little while, but I'll come back and show you how the last one is done. So I didn't want to make you watch while I put the beads on all the strings, but I'm down to the last one. I know this invisible thread is very, very hard to see, but it is what I'm using. It is a nylon transparent old thread that I've had for years. And then I got some glass seed beads online. I didn't have any in the house. I kind of wanted clear, but they ended up with a touch of gold in them, but they still look really good going up and down. As I showed you, I have these slots in here, and you come down and then you go through the slot with your thread after you've strung your beads, and then you go back up the next one and you keep repeating up and down. And then I'm skipping the middle because I have the umbrella there, and now I'm over here. So I've come down, gone up, and I came down and put the thread through this one, and now I'm going up through the last one. I tried some ways of picking up the beads, like with the sticky picker upper thing, and that wasn't working. So I hold the thread in my one hand and in my left hand, and then I pick up a bead, a glass seed bead, with my old trusty tweezers here, and I put it through, and then I'm going to do of course, you know, now that I'm trying to film, but just pick up a bead and put it through the hole. I tried a needle, but these beads are just too small, and the needle just would not go through. So, and then I tried to use my fingers, and that didn't work either. So this to me was the best way. Now I'm putting 10 on each line. I watched videos where people have put, you know, more like 20, and have also gone all the way across the front, and I quite frankly don't have the patience for that, and I think 10 looks perfectly fine. Some were using different numbers in each one, which was kind of a cool look. Okay, have you been counting? 2, 5, I want 10. And I know this takes a little while, but I did want to show you just one complete one. 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're going to take the thread and pull it tautly, is that the word? Tightly, up to the top slot. And then you're going to turn it over, and we're going to secure that with a piece of tape. And our different lines of beads are done. Once all the beads are on and they're ready to go, I've added another piece of the skinny phone tape along the top and the bottom, and added another piece to the side so they're all the same height. I used my EK Success powder tool, and I added powder along the sides of all those sticky sheets so that the beads well, it shouldn't stick, hopefully, once I get the top and bottom pieces on. I have cut a cloud and a grassy hill using Karen Burniston's Nature's Edges. I sponged a little gray ink on the cloud and I attached Sending Hugs, which is a Sue Wilson and Creative Expressions expression that seems to be a perfect sentiment until we can get and give real hugs. So I'm going to attach this to the top. Now on the one that I did, using this technique and the size of this die, it ends up being just a little taller than an A2 card. And that was fine with me. So you'll have to play with what dies and how you want to do this. But if you want it to be an A2 card, I would have to cut off those bottom and that top, and I'm just going to leave them. I also put a little bit, 2 layers of that sticky foam tape on the center of this, and I'm going to attach this to the top of the card so it covers up that stuff and the raindrops disappear under there. And then I'm going to repeat it on the bottom. And then I'm going to attach it to the front of the card base. There's extra tape on this back because I thought I wanted to put the tape on before I did the raindrops, but that didn't work with having to tape the back. So I just put another layer on, which is being stubborn. Well, let's just see what we can add here that will come off, huh? There we go. So I'm going to add this to the card front with a little blue on all the sides, and the raindrops magically appear and disappear, and I just think that's a really cool look. I know putting the beads on makes this card take a little longer than the others, but I love the look of the beads going up and down on the invisible thread. So fun! Thanks for watching, sharing, and subscribing, and thanks too for helping me share the joy of creativity.